the most important thing was understanding the article and my critiquing ability. That was very important. And what I noticed is that even if it was my field, it was about radiotherapy and cognitive decline, I couldn't understand the meaning behind some of the figures. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, you're welcome. My name is Anite and I'm a PhD student here at the University of Manchester. In this video, I am going to be taking you through what? How I prepared for my interview when I was applying for this PhD project. So let's get into it. Remember that I did 3 interviews for my PhD. The first interview I did was at Oxford University. The second interview I did was at the University of Antwerp, that's Belgium. And the third interview I did was here at the University of Manchester. For Oxford and Belgium interviews, I had to present my previous research projects. But for Manchester, it was a different thing. I had to critique an article, and I think it will be good for me to show you what I received in the email. Yeah, I got an email that I got shortlisted for this interview from Dr. Georgina, on the 21st of March. And the email read like this: Dear Annette, I am pleased to inform you that you have been shortlisted to interview for Dr. Ben Dickey's PhD project on Monday, 4th April 2022. Your interview will be conducted virtually via Zoom. Please note the below interview time is in UK time zone. The UK clocks change a week before. Yeah, don't worry about this. I would be grateful if you could confirm your interview attendance as soon as possible by email response. If you would like to test your technology with me in advance, please let me know. Yeah, and this is just about the interview Zoom details. Let's go to the structure. The interview will take the following format. First 5 minutes, the applicant will critique the paper. See paper critique below. Please have a copy of the critique with you. Okay. The 5 minutes, you'll be getting questions from the project lead supervisor, Dr. Ben Dickey, about the critique. See paper critique, question and answer below. 15 minutes, general questions from the interview panelists, including but not limited to questions in relation to your first PhD project. In this section, the panelists may refer to the attached research degree proposal that your project lead supervisor will have written prior to their project being advertised. Please remember, we are looking for candidates with a desire to become world-leading cancer researchers of the future and with an understanding or awareness of the Manchester Cancer Research Centre and Crook Radnate, Manchester. Interview panelists. The interview panel will be made up of academic clinicians and scientists from different areas of oncology. You are encouraged to deliver your paper critique so that it is understood by someone from a wider cancer audience, as well as someone with subject expertise. Paper critique. You are requested to critique a journal article provided by your lead supervisor and relevant to your proposed PhD project. For example, you should set out the author's aims and hypothesis, how they set about addressing these, the main findings and conclusions, and whether these were justified by the data presented. Your critique should be succinct and not more than 5 minutes. That was hard. Overheads or PowerPoint slides are not allowed, but you are allowed to use notes for this section. Following your presentation, there will be a question and answer session. Please remember we are asking for a critique and not only a summary of the paper. Paper critique, question and answer. The project supervisors or their nominated representatives will ask questions related to the paper for 5 minutes. Please have a copy of the paper to hand in. No. Please have a copy of the paper to hand in case questions direct you to particular figures. Preparation for interviews with your supervisors and others is both appropriate and to be encouraged, but please note you should not arrive with memorized Q&A and all scripted answers. We want to see candidates thinking during all questioning and not just parroting scripted answers that have been planned ahead of time. If you have any questions about all the process or require any adjustments to be made to enable your participation at interview, please do not hesitate to contact me using the details below. Best wishes, Dr. Georgina. Yes, I got this email and I got these two PDFs, the paper that I had to critique and then the proposal my supervisor wrote before applying to for this funding. When I got this email, I was like, wow. I mean, it shocked me because the slides were not allowed. And I was like, how am I going to do it? But I was like, no, I am going to do this because I'm fighting for this and I want to win it. So what I did first was to understand the article they sent me. Understanding the paper is very, very important. I got the email on the 21st of March, so I had about 2 weeks to prepare for this interview. 2 weeks is not so much time because you might need about a week to fully understand the article. I mean, it depends on how fast you are. I'm not that fast, so it took me about a week to understand the article. And during that time, I was working, so it took me some good time. But I tried to pause most of the things that I was working on during that time to focus so much on this interview because I had failed another interview, because of, some reasons. And one of the reasons was I didn't prepare enough. I didn't have time to prepare enough. So this time I was like, no, I'm giving it my best. So I canceled almost everything. Yeah, I understood the article, and after understanding the article, I made the summary of it. And I remember the first thing that I did was to contact my friends, Ricardo and Charlotte. Ricardo is a PhD student at the ICR, Institute of Cancer Research in London, and Charlotte is a PhD student at Imperial College London. Yeah, I should have their LinkedIn profiles here in case you have any questions. You can just reach out to them. They are kind people. I love them. Yeah, they helped me a lot to better present my article, and then my supervisor. My supervisor was so helpful. I remember he practiced with me twice about this, critiquing thing, and he made sure that I make the introduction, simple for the audience. So he did a great job. When I finished that, I remember trying to check about various groups in Manchester and learning more about my project because I had received the PDF having all the things that are going to be done in the 4 years. So I spent some time understanding that as well. But I think the most important thing was understanding the article that I received and my critiquing ability. And what I noticed is that even if it was my field, it was about radiotherapy and cognitive decline, I couldn't understand the meaning behind some of the figures. So my supervisor tried to help me a lot to understand those figures. But if I'm honest with you, despite the fact that I got all this help, there are things I still couldn't understand in the paper. Maybe because I had limited time and I was under pressure. So I remember having a call and my supervisor was like, yeah, can you explain this to me? I was trying to explain so I tried to explain to him and I was like, yeah, that's a good one. But honestly, I felt like I'm not doing the best job. So I instead tried to ask my friends, Ricardo and Charlotte, how I can better, talk about things that I'm not so sure of. And then they just told me, "Come on, don't focus so much on that. Focus on the limitations of the limitations of the article and all those things." Yeah, I tried my best. Yeah, I think I will show you the paper that I critiqued and my critique. I'll make a different video. I will show you what I did exactly. Yeah, and that's what I remember doing. Regarding the project, I had the questions about the project, maybe the questions they would ask about the project. And I forwarded all the questions to my supervisor, and he gave me all the answers, and he gave me, some tips on how to answer some questions, in a better way, how to better think about things if I'm asked any questions. And yeah, I felt happy because I had a support system. I had my supervisor. I know my supervisor now. He's so busy, always busy. But he got time to practice for me to practice in front of him twice. That's amazing. That really was really good for me. And then my friends getting time for me, that was really cool. So I felt lucky that I had those people to help me prepare for the interview, because honestly, if I didn't have anybody, I don't think I would perform that somehow good, during those interviews. What was the hardest part? I think the hardest part was to make that critique, presenting that, I think 14 pages, something paper into 5 minutes without slides. That was a bit hard, because sometimes it's easier to explain things when you have a diagram, in a slide, but slides were not allowed. So I had to say everything from my head. But definitely, I had my notes on the screen. So, I was just, checking my notes while telling them, what the paper was talking about. But definitely, I wasn't reading what was on the paper, because I had practiced so much that, the words were flowing, and I tried, my best to make it so natural, something that flows so naturally, you know. So yeah, I think you have to practice a lot. And the other thing was what? Mainly that. Yeah, the time with 5 minutes, and the fact that I didn't have to use the slides. I'm going to make a different video, telling you whatever I was asked in this interview. So please wait for that, and I'll be showing you the paper I critiqued and how I critiqued it, because I'm sure there are so many candidates who are applying such projects, and so many are going to be applying such projects in the future, and some of you have never done any paper critique, right? So maybe what I did might help you. So yeah, thanks for listening. Don't forget to share and subscribe.